sing. Very Merry Christmas to you all.
Well, Grantley, he hired a director in New York who hired me back in 1986 to do a 3-month tour to come to Europe with this touring company. And I came over and right away I just fell in love with Europe. It was my first time. I was 30 years old. I'd never been to Europe. Spent all my life in the United States, but I just fell in love with this type of touring, the type that this company does. Small set, very actor-oriented. And Christmas Carol came about. In the fall of 1991, he said, I want to do a touring Christmas Carol. He had just premiered the year before a Munich-based Christmas Carol. And he thought, well, I can sell this to the theaters. And so he said, why don't you come up with a version? And I said, well, I want to make my own adaptation. And he said, yeah, I don't care, just bring me a good show. So I got together with my old college buddies, Dan Dobie and Ty Burris, and we looked at various adaptations, and we just started writing our own. Because it's for a non-English speaking audience, I was looking for a way to introduce it gently to the audience to give it a frame. And so I said, well, let's have Dickens himself come and just speak to the audience. And like in the book, it's like he's sitting down and you're talking to a good friend.
Am I in focus?
I am the author of several books, which may be familiar to you. I'm also the author of this story you are about to see. And yes, in case you might be wondering, I am also dead. Please don't let that concern you. It is, I assure you, my problem and no one else's.
This is a weird situation because I'm the one filming this documentary. So now I have my beautiful show wife, Belle, filming me. I am otherwise known as Belle's husband in this scenario. My name's Gary, and I'm playing Charles Dickens and Dick Wilkins, Belle's husband, the ghost of Christmas Present, Old Joe, and one of the snobs. I think that's all of them, and I've made some little notes to try and remember what to say because I've got nobody asking me questions because it's usually me asking them questions. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What are you doing here?
My name's Louise Lee. I play Lady, who I've named Hyacinth.
Oh yes.
Dickens didn't call her Hyacinth, but that's what her name is. And I play Mrs. Fulch, one of my favourite characters. And then I play Mrs. Cratchit, Fan, who's 11, going on 40. I also play Fiona, the party lady, who's she's very gifted. She's a gifted orator.
My name is Samantha. I play Belle and Martha Cratchit, Molly, Elizabeth, who is Fred's wife, a charity lady who I named Florence, and I've been doing this for 3 years. This is my 3rd year, 3rd time lucky.
What is your name?
Hello, my name's Juliet Chappell. I play Ghost of Christmas Past, Tiny Tim, Mrs. Dilber, who else do I play? A party woman, the turkey boy that goes to get the turkey to take to the Cratchits at the end. Is that it? Do I play anyone else?
I'm Andrew Gruen, and I am playing Bob Cratchit, Marley's ghost, and a couple of other exciting characters like Stephen.
Well, open up the bag, Joel.
My name is Christian, and I am here multi-rolling the characters of Fred and Bill and Ebby. And I also have a nice little cameo as the door, which perhaps steals the show. Indeed. Yeah.
Who's my favourite cast member? None of them. I hate them all. They're all prima donnas. No, that's not true.
We are doing a tour through Germany in the year 2018.
And and I'm in. Where are we?
See, that's the thing about tours like this is you really lose all. It's like stepping into the TARDIS or something. You really lose all sense of time and space.
I think we're in Ludwigshafen.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's 10 o'clock in the morning. We're about to do a morning show and an evening show. So we've just set up our shenanigans and we're about to kick off in about an hour.
Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too, and God rest you and send you a happy new year, and God send you a happy new year.
This is the 28th year. Oh, and we should also mention that today is the 175th anniversary of the first public sales of A Christmas Carol, December 19th, 1843. So, I mean, it's a wonderful thing, isn't it, that we're telling this story all these years later.
Yes.
In 1991, that generation of British actors, they were a lot more cynical than the young British actors today. So I realized I might have a little trouble getting them to buy into a story like A Christmas Carol, which is sentimental. And so the actors of that period, they had just come through the Thatcher era, I don't know, but they were a bit cynical, and they were kind of holding it at arm's length. Now, 28 years later, I find that young British actors can sustain and prosper in a difficult touring environment, which our company always is quite demanding. I don't expect you to always be in a good mood, but I expect you to be a good enough actor to fake it until the real thing comes back, because morale is so precious on tour, and just even one person being negative just brings everybody down.
It's hard work. The tour is hard work. We pack in a lot in a short amount of time, rehearsals as well as being on the road and all the different venues we play, but all the positive vibes sort of out-trump all of it.
I liked it this year. It was a bit less stressful for me, but having done the show last year and returning, it wasn't quite so much pressure to sort of get on the page of what the director wants and everything. So what is it, 10 days, 9 days, something like that?
Yeah.
And obviously we're a cast of 7 and it's a 2-act play, and it's quite intricate in terms of scene changes and costume changes and everything like that. Lots of multi-rolling, so it's quite a lot to fit into that schedule.
Since the show's been running for so long, Rick, the director, has a really clear idea of what he wants from the show. And so the challenge there is finding your way of filling a sort of set parameter, but giving it your own sort of coloration.
I've seen such wonderful actors portray these characters over the years that I've learned from one, oh, he did that, or look at the way she lifts her chin and she finds the light just so, or the tone of his voice, or the way she changes from here to here and gets a laugh, you know.
Lord bless me!
Are you serious?
Yes, indeed. All those little things I've just stored up, and so I try to share that with my cast. And of course, I have a clear idea of what I want, but the big thing, obviously, is to leave room for all the wonderful people that are joining it for the first time, and not to quash their, what they can bring to it.
It's great. It's great to have the fun of playing lots of different characters, and just kind of living in the life of each of those for a brief moment, and then running off to go and get changed into something else.
Because there's so few cast members, it means that we all do lots and lots of doubling, which is also like one of the biggest challenges in the show. And so that variety is what really keeps it exciting. And also, because we rehearse in kind of in a very quick manner, it means that throughout the process of the show, you can continually explore the characters and deepen your understandings of them.
Does its pattern seem strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of your own chain. Yours is a monstrous chain!
No, Jacob. Ow!
Autobahn.
This is the 28th year. We've probably averaged over the course of, in the early years we would do places like Athens, Greece, Oslo, Bordeaux, Clermont-Ferrand, Zurich. We would just go all over the place with it. But we also take it to places, smaller towns and cities that don't get too much international theater.
This is my third year doing A Christmas Carol. Love the Christmas vibe and the Christmas atmosphere. Love getting away from home and coming to Germany and doing some touring, especially at this time of the year, because they really go for it at Christmas.
Yeah, I really enjoyed sort of getting to explore various cities. My mother's from Germany, so but I've hardly seen any of the country before, so it's really nice to get kind of an overview, a quick sort of ramshot of the place.
Now, with the 28th tour almost done, I'd say we're somewhere around 1,200 performances of this production. Around 500,000 people have seen it in 13 countries. And I would say we've driven, we put all the tours together, we've driven about 190,000 kilometers. We've only ever missed one performance because of weather. And it was a snowstorm, a blizzard in Germany about 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago now, that was so severe. The Autobahns, we were up near Düsseldorf and we had to get down to Heilbronn. And both of the major motorways coming down from that part of the Rhine Valley down over to Heilbronn, they were closed. So again, I had to take these secondary roads and we had to scoop out snow. We had to stop every now and then and try to get through the drifting snow. But even with our best efforts, we just didn't make it to Heilbronn in time for the show. We had to call ahead and say, we're stuck. And they said, yeah, what are you even doing out in it? It's terrible. But we made it up. We were able to go back a day later and we did a makeup show. So, knock on wood, that's the only performance we've ever missed in all of the 1,200 or so that we've done so far. Yeah.
In the van, I try to keep myself entertained by watching a film. I like watching a few vlogs on YouTube. I listen to Christmas music and just talking sometimes.
Right,
but everyone else sleeps. I don't sleep a lot in the van. So just watch everybody else sleep.
We're coming up to a really hectic week where we've got to kind of like drive. We finish shows in the evening, so we finish at like 10, do a get out, which takes about, I think we've got it down to an hour, and then so it's 11, and then we have to drive for 3 hours after the show and then do a morning show. So there's a few of those coming up.
As we come closer to the end of the tour and get closer to Christmas, there's that wonderful buzz of Christmas, and we've got these fantastic Christmas markets. But then you are just getting tired and exhausted, and then you arrive late at the theatre or really early in the morning at the theatre and have to do a get-in, and you're building the set, and you end up just being in automatic mode where you just have to get it done. Yeah. And I think it shows strength of character just to kind of plough on through, and we've been lucky in that nobody's raised an eyebrow to it and everybody's just cracked on.
You can't really do Christmas Carol, even in November. It doesn't sell like it sells just right before Christmas. And so, of course, that's the time when the producer packs in as many productions, as many performances as he can humanly get out of us and kind of squeeze out of us. So it's a challenge to body and spirit and soul for us to stay up for it. And that's what I tell the actors as well, is that you were hired to get through days like today when we're going to be working extremely long hours. We're going to have a short night, and tomorrow's going to come way too early. And yet I really need to see a smile from you in the morning. and everybody else does too. Everybody needs each other's gentleness and uplifting.
For me, before I did the show, that's something that I was actually really excited about, was everything that surrounds a tour, with doing the get-in and being on the road and getting up and doing a show again and again and again, no matter what the circumstances.
What we do get is like really beautiful theatres, really great theatres, and that's what I envy about German actors. You know, there's a theatre with a full, you know, what seems to be a repertory theatre company, you know, in season in the theatres that we go to. Everyone has their own dressing room. You know, there's the wig maker's room, you know, in every theatre, whereas you only really get that in the West End in London, in the UK, or, you know, Manchester, or, you know, a major city, but this, it seems to be every town. It's incredible, and so the spirit of like, oh, the feeling, the excitement of being in a theatre, and not just, it's great doing smaller venues like town halls and things like this, but when you're in ace venues, really beautiful venues, and so many people are rushing to help you, like, oh, you've broken a prop, great, I'll go away and saw it, maybe like patch it up with nails, because there's so many people on hand. Like the other day we turned up at a theatre and there's like 6 guys helping us rig the backdrop. And we're like, this is it's really amazing.
You know, we come back to the same theaters every year and I see the same technicians, and we're always, with our schedule, it's always, I've got 3 hours, I've got 4 hours maximum to get everything in the theater ready. And so that's a very intensive work with all the technicians and the lighting technicians, the sound technicians, the front of house people, you know, so I'm demanding a lot, but they buy into it. When I show up, they ask me about my daughter, or how's the year been, and we look at each other and we say, well, here we are, another year older. How's your health? How's that knee?
The Germans know how to do backstages really well for the most part. Like in this wonderful theater, we just discovered that there's a vending machine that has Coca-Cola, water, and Pilsner.
I just want to demonstrate. You got cola, Fanta, or beer. €1.50.
I mean,
I arrived in Germany very excited about the food, and we have had some fantastic food and some fantastic beer as well, which is great. And something else that I have been really excited about is making the most of my day off.
I like going out and about. I like whenever we turn up in a town, I like trying to find out what that town is known for, or what's best to see in that town. I really like eating my way from town to town as well, yes.
I like the Christmas markets and how Christmassy it feels. And I've tried to learn a bit more German this year, but I don't find myself using it that much, so.
Give us your best German phrase or sentence.
Entschuldigen, mein Deutsch ist nicht gut. Können Sie English sprechen?
I care so much that the actors also have a good time with it. Not only that you have a good time on stage, but when we go to Münster, or when we go to Munich or Berlin or wherever we are, that you'll go out and somebody, will say, hey guys, did you know there's a cat museum here? And they'll go to the cat museum. Of course, we love going to the Weihnachtsmarkt and drinking the Glühwein, but, making the most out of the opportunity, because to me, the only efficient cast is a happy cast.
This is my hotel room. Look at my bed. Cool is that?
Because the tour's so sort of intensive and you're moving from one place to the next, I don't really have sort of like a favourite town, or I think literally just going from place to place and sort of every place having a nice atmosphere. And like over the weekend we were in a hotel and we were actually a good 15 minutes outside of town. We couldn't walk there. Whereas, and on the Saturday night what we actually did was, having been in town, we bought a bottle of Glühwein, took it back to the hotel, and we had a hob in our hotel room, and we just sort of got like a pot and ladle and heated up the glue vine. So it's sort of, sometimes it doesn't quite matter where you are on the tour. You've always got that sort of nice festivities in the air, which is really cool. And I think that's what I like about it and what sort of brought me back for a third time.
Normally it takes me a little while to build up into the Christmas spirit, and delivering this wonderful Christmas show has really done it for me this year. Rather than oftentimes it's sort of the commercially aspects that then sort of take over and you're a little bit like, Christmas. But here we're sort of spreading good cheer and drinking lots of glühwein. So,
Absolutely. Now you've said that you're someone who likes to sort of winds into the Christmas spirit. We have someone over here. Samantha, how long does it take you to get into the Christmas spirit?
No time at all.
We got you a gift, Gary.
We got you a friend.
What,
for Christmas.
What's my gift? Do you miss being home?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Did I answer that too quickly?
No.
I do get a bit homesick. I'm such a homebody. I like my tea. And I'm very close to my mum, so I always miss my mum. I feel like I don't even have to be in Germany to miss my mum.
I'm a bit of a Scrooge myself. Like, I don't really enjoy Christmas at all, really. Especially not Christmas Day. So doing this show, I think I'm playing the wrong character. Doing this show has actually opened my heart. No, I mean, like, I've actually gone, this is a really lovely thing. Because Germany, Christmas in Germany is, every town has a Weihnachtsmarkt, a Christmas market. So you're drinking glühwein every night, everyone has got Christmas hats on the 1st of December. Everyone's like, standing around fires sometimes. We were in one town, and we walked into a Christmas market, and I was with Christian, and we stood around the fire, and we just started, chatting to these local people who were telling us about their lives, and I got the impression, standing around, everyone just joins in banter. I mean, living in London, you don't really get many people standing around a bin on fire having a chat, but I'm sure you might do in other contexts, anyway. But it was really, really joyful. So I've had an awakening.
It's a really nice build up to Christmas to come here and go from town to town and Christmas market to Christmas market and glühwein to glühwein, whilst bringing Christmas spirit and cheer and a lovely lesson of love and how society should help itself every year. So, yeah.
Chilly? Yes, a little bit chilly.
Since you've asked, here is my answer. My taxes help to support those establishments that I have mentioned, and those who are badly off must go there.
But many would rather die than go there.
If they would rather die, then they should do it and decrease the surplus population.
You know, I was just talking to some students today and they were saying, well, I didn't understand very much, but we got the story. And I said, yeah, well, I thought, well, that's because of the music and the movement and the color palette and even the tone of voice. The tone of voice is so important. And symbols, props are very important. They become symbols, and that's why I was so, you know, when Grantley says, well, you can't have a live candle because, you know, it makes the firemen nervous. I just thought, well, but that's the essence of the story.
Samantha's giving the lectern a bit of much needed TLC.
Giving it a bit of love. Just a bit of love.
Bit of a paint job. Tell us what you do backstage.
Well, when we do the get-in, I look after the costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So put the chairs out and start making sure that we've got enough for everybody. And I set 8 chairs. I make sure that my props are made, and I make my baby.
Could you please explain for the camera, for the viewers watching, what you're doing?
I am making a baby. This is how babies are made.
This is how
babies are made.
Belle and her husband's baby is made.
Yeah.
You may notice
I'm gonna get it wrong now.
there's no face, but this is okay.
She's beautiful.
She is beautiful because it's symbolic.
Yes.
And actually, we were talking about yesterday, what if we had an actual lifelike doll on stage, but we don't think that would be as good, do we?
It'd be a bit scary.
Yeah.
Are the children sleeping?
All sleeping but one.
Well, then it's time for you to go to sleep, little one. But you wanted to see your daddy, waddy.
Have you had a favourite moment in the show?
I like that I've got some quite exciting entrances and exits, so that's quite fun. Obviously it's the ghost, but then Turkey Boy and things like that. That's fun to just, you know, everyone loves the moment you step on stage.
Ah, here's the big bird.
The costume changes in the show, we've all got we've all got very quick costume changes. My quickest one is probably between one of the Snob and Old Joe. I literally have to go backstage, whip off this huge cloak, top hat, put on this shabby overcoat, scarf, eye patch, hat, and then get my tray of goods that belongs to Old Joe. So that's a pretty quick one. I've got probably 60 seconds to do that in, but I've honed it over the 3 years. I've had a couple of near misses.
So I have a very quick costume change into Future, which is fantastic, because I've got Lou backstage helping me out, get into that as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
And needless to say, there's been a bit of drama with that.
He has a lot of black layers on, black gloves and he was getting changed in a really dark spot backstage. So it sort of blends in when you've got no light on the black costume.
Yeah. I got to my costume, put it on the right way.
And I realised he had his costume on backwards.
Lou was like, no.
I was like, Christian, you've got your costume on backwards.
And she just decided to turn the whole costume around.
And we put it on and realised that the hood is now this way over his face instead of on his back. And he was like, no, it's the wrong way, it's the wrong way.
Then she turns it back around. By the time I'm supposed to be on the stage, then we're putting on the gloves.
And he couldn't get his arm, we couldn't find the hole for his arm.
I came on the stage slightly stumbling over my costume, and by the end of the scene, it had just deteriorated. My hood was off.
And obviously there's a famous bit where the Ghost of Christmas Future, he can't talk, so he just points, but he didn't have an arm because it was stuck in his cloak. So he had to use his other arm to go sort of across his body like this. Bear in mind, his costume is all hanging down. There's a big white t-shirt on underneath.
You could see my shirt and I was just stumbling absolutely everywhere.
The climax, the pivotal moment of the play, you know, where Ebenezer realises the error of his ways by this formidable creature.
It was embarrassing, but you had to laugh at the situation.
I was sincerely apologetic about that because, I mean, that was horrendously bad.
Yeah, thanks for that, Lou.
If anyone's wondering how we do Marley's chains. They've probably guessed, but we actually have a big box of chains. And the person who plays Fred's part and all those sorts of roles puts on the gloves and he does that. What I have here is Marley's mask. Right there, it looks beautiful. And over there is Marley getting his costume on.
Yeah, I really enjoy Marley's ghost.
Oh, there he is.
The man of the moment. Hello.
What are you?
An actor prepares. Are you talking about William?
Merry Christmas and a happy New Year.
Sorry, sempre ne
Music plays such a big role in this. Every little scene change or every little magic moment had a musical accompaniment that helped tell the story. It was a very cinematic approach.
So I am the musical director of the show, which, what does that mean? That means that I am getting everybody tight with the music and focusing on pitch and making sure that the rhythms are on point, and that tends to lead to it all sounding tight, and you can get away with a lot if it's rhythmically together. So that's been really fun for me, and I've really enjoyed doing that. And fortunately for me, everybody can sing pretty nicely in the cast. So
well, I attempt to. Yeah.
For you won't be left alone. You'll meet our tragic end.
You ruined the whole thing.
Sorry.
yeah, well, no, Gary gets those bass notes right out there, which is fantastic, you know. And and then when it comes to being on the road, when we get into the theatre, I will run a vocal warm-up to help everybody get to the right place before the show with their voices. I have a funny little thing where I set the time at an obscure time, like rather than saying 1/4 past, I'll say 16 minutes past.
Hello.
This is our musical director. Now, normally we do our musical warm up about, was it 16 minutes past?
Tends to be around then.
So what time is it now?
Well, we're supposed to be doing it at 16 minutes past, and it's now 24 minutes.
34 minutes past.
31, Christian,
No,
it's 31.
We're now agreed at 31.
It's 22 minutes past now. It's okay.
What day is it?
Would you like some mascara?
By doing that, hopefully everybody is there on the time. And then really it's just a question of self-responsibility and everybody getting their voices to the place they feel comfortable with before the show, and then we go and do our own bit.
Mr. Scrooge, a pleasant day. All is well with you, I pray. What they really mean to say is they want to make me pay. How does it sound?
From the very beginning, my idea was to have a keyboardist on stage, kind of in up left part of the stage. That lasted right up for the first 25 years. And at that point, after years of doing all of the road manager jobs, as well as playing a principal role as an actor, as well as being the director, and doing all the driving, doing all the lighting setup and everything else, I realized I'm getting too old for this. So we decided to record all of the rest of the music cues, put them on playback. That would enable me, instead of bringing in another actor or performer, I could bring in some outside technical help. And we brought in Chris. Chris has taken such a load of weight off my shoulders, and so I want to continue with that in the future.
Chris Baltes, our technical guy, he's awesome. He's German and he's very on the ball, and he puts up with our British humour and takes us out to all these dodgy bars. So he's great because he's been doing it for 3 years as well, so it's nice to have him sort of. He's the packmeister for the van as well, so when we do our get-outs and our get-ins, he's always there orchestrating the van.
Well, where's Chris? Oh, I need a shot of Chris. Is he in there? Oh, he's left us.
Job well done.
Look at that.
A better place.
Tetris pack.
Very good, very good.
Very good.
Beautiful.
All in a good day's work.
Done.
Test 1. Here. Here.
Trying to make it
Test
doing something important up
here.
Herr Baltes saves the day again and again and again. I mean, he's dreadful company, but he's very good at his job.
He is. No, definitely. Have you ridden with him in the van?
I have. I rode with him this morning and have done on some nice long journeys. He likes his heavy metal from time to time, which is good.
Has he played you any of his music yet?
He did last year. I haven't heard any of it this year. I need to press for that. But last year, yeah, I had a Baltes showcase. It was lovely.
What are you doing at the moment, mate?
Hello, we're just routing our laptop to the house PA and to the monitors for the actors.
Nice.
And I'm also setting up a MIDI show which controls the lighting desk, but this is yet to be checked with the lighting guy. But so far we're patched and we're ready to go sound-wise. We just need to sound check later on, so I'm good.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Maybe have him design the lights, although, as he said to me, he said, yeah, I can do it, but are you ready to give up that job? And I said, well, yeah, maybe not yet. I got to admit, part of this job is that I love working with the lighting crew and, you know, making something that looks really nice. And afterwards, you know, the lighting technicians, the guys who usually don't, you know, they just go off or whatever, they don't care. But they watch the show from the wings, and afterwards they you know, will quite often say, good job, man.
All right, so this is what a professional lighting sheet looks like. This is what the theater, the lighting guys here at the theater, they made this up based on what they've seen me do over the years. This is the way I work. It's messy, of course. I mean, the first time I made this sheet was 2009. So every year when I come back, 2010, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I note who's the stage boss, who's the lighting chief, who are the lighting technicians. And but that's how we roll. That's how I roll, and that's how everybody else in the professional world does it.
What I tried to do after experimentation, I found just the right filter, and instead of having just white light, I have a mix of warm color and cool color that I can put together to make what looks like a white light, but it's richer than a white light, and it makes us look healthy and vibrant. And then if I take the warm light away, then I've got cool light to isolate, so I can have a warm part of the stage right next to a cool part of the stage. So when Scrooge is watching, you know, events from his past or something like that, they're in warm light and he's in cool light, so it helps tell the story to the audience.
Der weiß, was damit zu tun hat. Looks nice, doesn't it? It looks good.
Here stands a little oak tree, cloak soaked in sap and knobbly knees, tear strained from years of rain, cracked through, love racked and nothing gained. Here stands a little oak tree. To be as big as other trees, one must see in himself what it is to be. Me or he or they or she, the little oak tree. Beaten down by a garrison of comparison, self-comparison, an arsenal of reasons to make incisions in its trunk, to change its look, to look like these other trees, no look. For that's impossible. To be the salmon in the sea, it cannot be, for it is a tree. Here stands this little oak tree. I'm fighting to be me. To say, to start to say, I've won, in my head I've won, while tons of tarnish splash down in spades. Decades of habits of being a frightened rabbit. Take it. Take the chance to say I've won and keep on saying it. Here stands an oak tree, at a point of victory, an opportunity to say I've won, when all around speaks contrary.
Yes. Wow.
Gorgeous.
Well, thank you very much for this year's performance. Again, we enjoy this very much. It's part of our Christmas tradition, and each time I observe a standing ovation. So you do a really good job, and we enjoy it very much. Thank you.
The main reason I feel really just privileged to be a part of this is the audience. You know, especially since we started, you know, doing something for charity, selling the postcards and donating some of the sales towards charity, it gives us a chance to interact with the audience like we've never done before. And so, you know, it's just the greatest feeling in the world.
At the end of every show, we sell postcards that are made from photos that we took on the first day of rehearsals by an amazing guy called Eric. And 25% of the sale goes to charities, German charities.
Letztes Jahr schon, dank Zuschauer wie Sie, haben wir weit über 1.000 Euro an Kinderdorf und ein Herz für Kinder unter anderem gespendet. And that is pretty wonderful, isn't it?
I really like it because sometimes we're quite distanced in our performance, and there's, for me, there's no interaction directly with the audience doing the show or anything like that. So it's lovely. It's always lovely to get feedback afterwards of people who return to the show year after year, people who've come with their school who were really surprised at how much they enjoyed it. We've even had this year, because of Samantha and all of her social media, we've had people that have followed her on Instagram and have found the show and come along.
Literally seconds later.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, everyone's been very lovely, and that's really nice to hear that you're telling the story and creating a world on stage that they're buying into. So yeah.
It's like our 14th years of Christmas Carol, and we really love every time. It's great. It's like a tradition. It's the start for the Christmas season. And it's really awesome, and I enjoy it every year. So
yeah,
brilliant.
It's great. I mean, he was here the first time when he was about 10 years old, and look at him now.
He hasn't been corrupted by it or anything. So.
Yeah, it's just our Christmas tradition, and we love it. We love it every year.
Little children or teenagers who, you know, pretty much shut off everything, but they tune in to us, into this show, or older folks or retirees. They all come and they say, you know, so many of them come and say, I've seen this now for the 7th time, or there's a lady coming tonight who has seen it every year for the last 27 years, and she's coming again tonight.
During Advent time, I read Christmas Carol, and when it came to Hanover for the first time, of course, I came here with my pupils, and we all loved it. And so since then, I've come back nearly twice every time. Only once I was ill, then I could not come.
Wow.
And nowadays, I come here with former pupils, with their parents and their children. And it's always like a family reunion, and the show is very close to Dickens' book, and I think this show really captures the spirit of Christmas Carol.
And the other people who say, you know, I've been coming for years, it just doesn't feel like Christmas until we see a Christmas Carol.
25th time with the American Grammar Group in Ingolstadt.
Fantastic.
For me, there's no Christmas without them visiting my hometown Ingolstadt. So continue, I will be there.
There's just one very, very important event in the year for my family and for all of us and my friends. And we always enjoyed very, very much. It was so great, and I think it's 25th event we joined, and
25th.
It's always great. And I love the family, we love them all, and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, thank you very much.
Okay.
I mean, that's a pretty awesome responsibility. So, you know, carol to the people. Bring the carol to the people. You know, we were talking earlier about, you know, why it's come to mean so much to me. I guess, you know, of all the work I've done in my adult life as an actor in my professional career, this is probably my legacy. This is what I'll be remembered for, maybe more than anything else, because I've spent so much time and effort and put so much love and attention into it.
So this is my 28th time watching Christmas Carol, and I love it, and it's not Christmas without it. And not just for me and my family, but also for my friends. Those are all my friends, kind of. No, but it's become a tradition, and it's so lovely, and it's so uplifting and heartwarming, and my dad is actually the star. And when I was a kid, and he used to play the role of Charles Dickens. And when I was a kid, you know, I saw him on stage, and he said, "Good evening, my name is Charles Dickens," and I was convinced, in a way, that my dad was Charles Dickens. So that was pretty cool. I think my friends didn't believe me, but so that was
Thank you so much again.
a very early moment, and just. It shows how I really grew up with that play and how I watched it grow and become, it's just wonderful, it's lovely.
On a set that looked very much like this one, the original set back in 1991, the very first year we did this play, Paulina, who's now all grown up, she's 30 years old, this beautiful lady, she was 3 years old. And I remember her mom, my wife Gabi, bringing her to the show, and the first thing she wanted to do was to climb on this set, although she wasn't quite 3 yet, so she was about 2 years and 8 months. And so I remember her just kind of like putting her knee up or putting her leg up, trying to climb onto this level, and then she kind of got up and waddled over to the next level, and then she kind of pulled herself up and put her leg up, and she got up there, and finally, and I was saying, "Sweetheart, be careful, don't go too high," and she just said, "Nah," you know, and she just climbed all the way up to the top. That was when she was just a little angel, just about that tall. Yeah, so she's grown up with it. The friends that Polly went to school with, they came to see it as teenagers. Now they're all adults. Most of them are in their 30s now, but they still love to come and see it. And that, well, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think I've seen the play for 10 years in a row now, and before that I've always been like a Grinch Christmas type, but now it's not Christmas without Christmas Carol. It gives you in a very Christmassy mood. It warms your heart. I love it.
You've been converted like Scrooge then?
Yes, yes, this is the story of my life.
Secret Santa.
Oh, Secret Santa. This is something we do every year.
Oh, Andrew. You have to pick a Secret Santa. You can't tell us who it is. If it is you, it's got to go back in.
Okay, who's it gonna be? Should I shake it? Come back quickly.
I just didn't know what, but I don't know which one it is.
It's a baby.
Any last words?
I will miss you all. It's been a pleasure and an honor. And you've all been so lovely to work with. Couldn't have asked for a better cash.
Thank you. That was beautiful, but I got distracted by my beer arriving, so...
Hello. This was a perfect performance. Und jetzt unterstanden, bin es auf Badisch gewesen.
What am I saying? A Christmas Carol is fantastic to be part of, especially at the time of year when it is all about giving and about kindness, and that your actions do have a consequence on everybody else. And yeah, for Scrooge to see that and eventually, and everything else he's seen, and eventually change his thought process to go, you know what, I'm not going to live like that anymore. That's really wonderful.
You know, it's not overly laden with sentimentality, but it has honest emotion. It actually has people at extremes of emotion.
I promised him on his last night that I'd walk there, visit him on a Sunday. Oh, my little child. My little thing. Help me.
It's about life and death and loss and the importance of family and the importance of reaching out to your loved ones.
Right now, and that's also what some of my pupils said, it's so important to have something like this. When you look at the world and the way it is changing right now, it's frightening. It seems to me that humanity is going backwards. And so it's contrast to the world we have at the moment.
Yeah. What do you like about this show? What do you like about Christmas Carol? Why do you do this show?
Because I love Christmas. I love Christmas. I love Christmas. That's why I do this show. And I love the story. I love that it's like, it's never too late to make everything right.
Last show, final words.
Carol to the people.
Carol to the people.
Carol to the people.
Oh yeah. Toi toi toi.
Toi 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 toi.
Ladies and Gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, ein ganz herzlichen Dank von mir to all of you, die über die Jahre mit dem Stück mit uns aufgewachsen haben, dass sie jetzt als Eltern ihre eigenen Kinder mitbringen Und damals haben sie das zum ersten Mal mit ihren Schulklassen gesehen. Also es ist ihretwegen, dass ich wieder herkomme, alle Jahre wieder. Und es gibt mir eine große Freude, wenn Sie mich begrüßen und sagen, Mr. Clodfelter, es ist jetzt Weihnachten, weil wir haben den Christmas Carol gesehen. Das bedeutet mehr, als ich sagen kann. Und deswegen sage ich nur vom ganzen Herzen, Dankeschön, thank you very much. Merry Christmas und guten Rutsch.